Sorry. I think did I unmute? Hi, everybody. We're going to be, we're just going to give people a quick second. As people are joining. We're going to get started in just about 1 minute. Okay. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started now. And people who come late, they can always watch the recording. The Millburn Environmental Commission welcomes you to this webinar about gas-powered leaf blowers. My name is Bill Brazel. I'm a member of that commission, and we're all so glad that you're here. You may see Lois Krause and Matt Greller also here, and they'll be speaking later. We've enabled the Q&A function in the Zoom tonight. Please put your questions in there. We may type an answer right in the Q&A, or if the question seems likely to interest a lot of people, we may answer it here publicly. And also, if we don't get to it during this webinar, please don't feel bad. We're putting out a Q&A, and we may include it in the Q&A or find some other way to get an answer to you. If you are particularly anxious about it, maybe you could put your email address in the Q&A, and that way we can track you down and give you the answer. Okay. Thanks very much. Right now, we're going to start with a video from Millburn resident, Dr. Tammy Huang, who was unable to join us tonight, but feels very strongly about this issue and knows a great deal about it. So we're going to hear from Tammy right now.
And so I started doing some.
Oops. Okay.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tammy Huang. I'm a physician, and I'm also a long-term Millburn Short Hills resident. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight, so I recorded a short video for you. For a long time, I was oblivious to gas-powered leaf blowers. I went to work, I came home, everything was great. During the pandemic, though, I heard the blowers difficult also to tune out for two reasons. It's inconstant and it's randomly inconstant.
My apologies, guys. I didn't realize that muting me was going to stop you guys from hearing her, so I'm going to start it over.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tammy Huang. I'm a physician, and I'm also a long-term Millburn Short Hills resident. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight, so I recorded a short video for you. For a long time, I was oblivious to gas-powered leaf blowers. I went to work, I came home, everything was great. During the pandemic, though, I heard the blowers and then I could not stop hearing them. I was annoyed and I was curious, and so I started doing some research. It's not good. In fact, noise is only the most obvious health issue associated with blowers. It's certainly a big one. We've all experienced the added stresses of living in a noisy environment. You can't conduct your conference call, or you can't concentrate on your paper or your exam. In fact, excess noise has also been linked to increased heart attacks, increased heart failure, high blood pressure, and strokes. By the way, all of this is well documented, and we have links to any papers for those who are interested. The noise of the blower is particularly difficult also to tune out for two reasons. It's inconstant and it's randomly inconstant. These random starts and stops make it difficult to ignore. It's also a lower frequency type of noise, which means that the physics are such that it is able to penetrate your walls. Closing your windows is virtually useless. Of course, there's the issue of hearing loss. It's certainly the operator you've hired who is most vulnerable here, but you are not immune either. A lifetime of excess noise will lead you more likely to need those hearing aids also. And finally, in addition to the grandparent with a hearing loss and the parent who can't conduct a conference call, you've also got the kid who is not doing well in school because excess noise has also been shown to affect our cognition and to lower school performance. Separate from the noise, there are the toxins expelled by the blowers. Because the basic engine technology is circa 1879, and because the machines have not been regulated the way automobiles have been over the decades, the exhaust associated with that outdated, inefficient engine is filled with harmful chemicals. These include benzene, formaldehyde, nitrous oxide, and carbon monoxide. To equal the hydrocarbon emissions of about a half hour of yard work with this two-stroke leaf blower, you'd have to drive a Ford Raptor truck for almost 4,000 miles, or the distance from North Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. You may not be familiar with all of those chemical names, but they too have been linked to a whole host of diseases you do know and which you don't want to meet, from asthma and heart attacks to lung cancer and bladder cancer. Of course, there are additional issues, including simple quality of life, which has to count for something, environmental pollution, and climate change, which also has to count for something, but those are beyond the scope of this small public service announcement. I hope you will be moved to make a small difference for your health, for your family's health, for the health of your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Really appreciate that. And now we're going to go to a different Millburn resident, a man named Adam Hark.
Hi, I'm Adam Hark. Picture a perfect summer day. You're working from home, taking care of your kids, or simply enjoying a well-earned day off. You open your window to let in the fresh air, only to be met with the unmistakable roar of a landscaping crew next door. Before you can react, the leaf blowers pass by, filling your home with the harsh fumes of carbon monoxide and other emissions. The smell lingers for hours. I don't have to imagine this. I experience it firsthand while working from my home in Millburn. During the summer, crews are out every few days, making it difficult to even walk my dog without feeling lightheaded. I should be able to keep my windows open without worrying about air pollution from gas-powered leaf blowers, especially when there are plenty of alternatives available, including battery-powered, corded models, and eco-friendly options like mulching. A seasonal ban during the summer is a reasonable compromise, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. And let's see here. I'm just realizing, Lois, you are a panelist right now, I believe. Um, this problem is, of course, not unique to Milburn. And Lois Krause, who lives in nearby Westfield, follows this issue closely around the state. So thanks so much for joining us, Lois. Can you please tell us what are other New Jersey towns doing about this issue and what is the state doing?
Sure, happy to, Bill, and thank you so much for hosting this session to educate people because that's what's so important. So there are currently 5 towns in the state that have some kind of gas leaf ordinance. In Maplewood and Montclair, it is a year-round ban. They started as seasonal bans and then moved to year-round. So they have to use electric or battery operated. They cannot use a 2-stroke blower. In Princeton, South Orange, and most recently Glen Ridge, they have what are called seasonal use ordinances, where there are times during the heavy fall and the spring cleanup, they're permitted to use 2-stroke equipment. The rest of the time they have to not use them, and they can use battery or electric operated. There are, like Milburn, another half dozen towns, including West Orange, Ridgewood, Madison, and Westfield is just starting, looking so similar, maybe not as far along as Milburn, but so similarly looking at this issue. And then there are hundreds of towns across the country that have some sort of gas leaf blower ordinances in place. At the state level, there are 3 pieces of legislation. 2 have passed through, one through the Senate Environmental and Energy Committee and one through the Assembly. One sponsored by Senator Smith, which would give a tax credit to landscapers. It is a bill that will eventually sunset the use of gas leaf blowers. So it starts with a prohibiting sale and then eventually prohibiting use. Assemblywoman Swain's bill is going to have the Board of Public Utilities give some sort of rebate to commercial landscapers that focuses more on energy, battery, recycling. So it's a little bit different, and it covers all types of 2-stroke equipment.
Thank you, Lois. That's
Welcome.
a great summary. And Milburn and Short Hills residents may like to know that as a member of the Environment and Energy Committee, our own state senator, John McKean, voted to move Senate Bill S217, S2217 out of committee, which sent it to the Appropriations Committee, as Lois described. Senator McKean gave us a statement for this webinar, actually. He said, gas-powered leaf blowers put out surprisingly large amounts of both air and noise pollution. The more I learned about them and the more I heard from my constituents, the more I understood the need to do what we can to reduce their use. I fully support Milburn's efforts to make its air cleaner and its environment quieter by restricting the use of gas leaf blowers. So we thank Senator McKean for sending us that statement. So what exactly is Milburn looking to do? We've talked about the problem and what other towns are doing. What is Milburn Short Hills looking to do? For that, we're going to turn to Matt Greller, an attorney who lives in the Wyoming neighborhood and has worked hard on the ordinance that the Milburn Environmental Commission recently passed unanimously and sent it to the Township Committee. The ordinance itself is available on the township's website for everyone to read. But most of us, Matt, are not lawyers. Can you please tell us the main points and what would change if this ordinance were to pass?
Sure. Thank you, Bill. And thank you also to the other panelists and the folks and the residents that we've heard tonight from gas-powered leaf blowers are irritating with their incessant noise and they pose human health impacts. But I want everybody to know that the Environmental Commission, while we're listening to residents, we're also listening to landscapers. And we're simply proposing a reasonable ordinance that provides a seasonal restriction. This ordinance, this draft ordinance, would restrict the use of gas-powered leaf blowers during the summer and winter months, and also restrict their time of use during specific hours in the fall and spring. Simply put, the gas-powered leaf blowers would not be permitted from May through September, and they also would not be permitted in January and February. During the fall and spring, when the gas-powered leaf blowers will be allowed, we're recommending that they not be used before 8 a.m. on weekdays or after 5 p.m., and also that they not be used before 9 a.m. on weekends or after 4 p.m. We're recommending this reasonable and viable seasonal restriction to protect the quality of life and health of Millburn residents, but also continue to allow the services provided by the very hardworking landscapers in our community. And we hope that if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A, and thank you for everybody's time.
Thanks so much, Matt. Much appreciated. And just to echo Matt's point there about the landscapers, we have had extensive meetings with landscapers. I used to be a landscape laborer myself. I know how hard that work is. I did it a lot in very hot weather. A couple of residents have suggested that we don't know how hard it is. We do know how hard it is. And we are in no way seeking to increase the burden on the landscapers. In fact, what we're looking to do is to ask residents to give the landscapers a break during the months when they are not allowed to use the gas-powered leaf blowers. We are well aware that gas-powered leaf blowers are, at this point, the technology being what it is, they are more powerful than electric or battery blowers. And we understand that not being able to use them sometimes is a hardship. So we're asking townspeople to please give your landscaper a break. Understand that he or she is not able to use that tool during certain months. And we chose months that typically there isn't a lot of leaf litter on your lawn. There might be grass clippings, but those are more easily dispensed with. But please think about this and consider what the landscapers are dealing with if this were to move forward. So thank you. Are there any questions at this point? I guess no questions yet. We've got another couple of another resident here that we'd like to hear from who just sent us a quick video here. So I'm going to share that.
Sarah Webb, and I am a Millburn resident. I support a seasonal restriction on gas-powered leaf blowers here in my home community of Millburn because of the high levels of air pollution that these tools emit and the high cost to the environment and to public health that air pollution presents.
Great.
Hi, my name is Sarah Webb, and I am a Millburn resident. I support a seasonal restriction on gas-powered leaf blowers here in my home community of Millburn because of the high levels of air pollution
Sorry, guys.
that these tools emit and the high cost to the environment and to public health that air pollution presents.
Bill, she's so good we had to hear it twice. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got another one. My apologies. I'm sure you can tell this is not my my big strength. Let's see here. There's one more here. Okay. And this is Woosok. I don't know why it isn't playing. Okay, my apologies. This is a neighbor named Woosok who simply wanted people to know, he wanted his voice to be heard above the din of gas-powered leaf blowers, and he wanted us to know that he very much supports the restriction. So we thank him for that. And I'm sorry because at the moment, here we are. Okay, stop share. Let's see. I wanted to hear. There's somebody else in the. Here we go. David Jacobs. I've got to make it here. I'm going to make you a panelist, and so now you can join. Okay, David, can you unmute? And maybe show us your camera so we can see you.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. David, we can see you.
Oh, you can see me now? Okay.
Yep.
Hi, I'm David Jacobs. I'm a township resident. And I was thinking about this and I thought, well, maybe we could just pretend that any one of us on this call or a Milburn Township official responsible for the health and well-being of the community, I'd like to pose a few questions. One is, how would you react, or mostly us react, if folks arrived in Milburn Short Hills neighborhood, unloaded this device that included a huge set of speakers and positioned it in front of a home? Then the device blared ear-piercing music at unacceptably dangerous decibels with deep booming bass that penetrates walls, so as the family cannot carry on conversations at dinner, conduct business from a home office, and kids cannot work on an online tutor with an online tutor or study in peace. You know, God forbid anyone would want to sit on a porch or talk with a neighbor as the device was blaring away. How would you react as an official if this device also emitted toxic fumes as described by Dr. Wong, benzene, formaldehyde, and the like, in and around the windows of each home? It gets sort of worse. What if there were multiple devices going on around the house for 20 to 30 minutes at a time together? What if these devices blared away in multiple locations around the home at the same time? Your next door neighbors, the neighbors around them, all around you, 6 days a week, intermittently from 8 a.m. to sunset. And it's happening in hundreds of locations. It seems to me that we would act. We've just become accustomed to what's been happening over the years. Thank goodness we've awakened to the fact that there are alternatives. And over the 2 years, the EC, thank you, with the township's consent, thank you, has researched and developed a reasonable plan to move forward that I support. This is a quality of life and public health issue, and I know we can deal with it effectively. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, David. Much appreciated. Okay, and we've got another resident ready to say something here. Vanita, I'm bringing you on as a panelist. So can you please unmute? There we are. Okay, can you, yeah, there we go.
Hi, my name's Aryan Jain. I'm a resident at Short Hills and a junior in Melbourne High School. I also wanted to say a few words about the proposed restriction on gas-powered leaf blowers. As the most powerful species on Earth, us humans, I think that we have a ton of influence on the planet, and we get to decide the type of world that we want to live in. So we're responsible for every drop of poison that leaches into our rivers, every ounce of CO2 that's pumped into our atmosphere, and every square foot of topsoil that we destroy. It also means that the policies our governments adopt are directly correlated to how healthy our world is. But the brunt of political change isn't concentrated in Washington, but in each and every community that decides to take a step towards a brighter future. Even if that step is super small, it creates political pressure that can build its way up. So in other words, the small actions that we make as a community today have a profound impact for the future of our species and the world we leave behind for the next generation. But how does this relate to gas-powered blowers? Well, gas-powered blowers operate at 100 decibels, exceeding OSHA's 85 decibel limit for safe prolonged exposure. They disrupt communities, they ruin sleep and increase stress levels. They increase risk of asthma, lung disease, and heart disease, as extremely small particles can penetrate deep into the lungs. They can cause soil and water contamination when gasoline leaks from them. 1 hour of using these blowers can emit as much pollution as driving a car for 1,100 miles. And all of this just to blow leaves off our lawns. Gas-powered blowers are symbolic for what causes environmental degradation. They're machines that devour tons of fuel, inefficiently blowing leaves while belching out enough poison to kill a small child. Some people say that gas-powered blowers are cheaper than battery-powered alternatives, but this isn't even true in most cases. But if we are to assume that it is true, let me ask you, would you buy a car that was cheaper but didn't have seatbelts and airbags? I'm guessing that most people would spend the extra buck to ensure their safety and health. The same logic applies here. If we want to live in a better, healthier, and happier world, then we have to stop prioritizing things like leaf blowing or our planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aryan. Much appreciated. And we've got one other voice here. I guess one quick thing. Let's see. I saw a question about the the idea that electric blowers are just as noisy as the gas-powered blowers. Matt, would you like to pop on and just address that one? It's a question that has actually been answered a lot, but okay, yeah, great, Matt.
Yeah, hi. I appreciate the opportunity to answer this, Bill. So yeah, this has come up a number of times, and there have been studies by engineering firms that, and I'm not an engineer, but I put the study and links to also the sound of the differences between the two types of leaf blowers in the Q&A. But essentially, there's a difference between the high frequency and low frequency noise. And essentially, anybody who has been irritated by the gas-powered leaf blowers, it's because that high frequency is able to penetrate your walls and windows, whereas the low frequency whir of the electric equipment does not do the same. And
Sorry, Matt. It's actually the other way around.
The other way around. And again, I'm not
That's
the
right.
engineer, but I'm just I have the study here. I'm trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. But it is the other way around, the difference between the low frequency and the high frequency. So anybody who has a gas-powered leaf blower outside, you're able to really hear that in your home. And if you have several neighbors around your home, it's going to continue to surround your home and penetrate your home. Whereas if they were using the electric leaf blowers, it might be something in the background, but it's not penetrating your home and not irritating yourself and causing headaches.
Exactly. Thank you, Matt. Okay. Now we've got Mike Skagerland. Mike, I think we're just about at the time that we ask people to use. So I'd love to ask you, Mike, to take this home. Those of you who asked questions we weren't able to get to, it's just because we had a lot of speakers lined up. But as mentioned, we will try to get to you as best we can. Mike, if you could please unmute and show us your pretty face. There we are. Thanks.
I don't know about pretty face, Bill, but thank you for that introduction. My name is Mike Skagerland. I'm a resident of Millburn, and I live in the Wyoming district. As you know, probably, the Wyoming district has relatively small lots, quarter of an acre, that sort of thing. And yet, during the leaf blowing season, I often, and I do mean often, see 2 or even 3 guys with gas-powered leaf blowers strapped to their backs, blowing leaves, dust, and exhaust fumes in these small yards. It seems to me to be utter overkill. The noise, as we've heard already tonight, is simply intolerable, especially for someone like me who uses their ears for his work and his play. And that's before we even get to discuss the smell of the exhaust fumes and the impacts on human health, which again have been raised earlier in this meeting. That said, I have been following this debate now for a couple of years, and I've been listening very, very carefully to the different points of view. And I believe that the proposal on the table, which, as we know, is a seasonal restriction over the summer and in January and February, is very much a reasonable one, worthy of Millburn residents' support. It allows residents like us some much needed respite from the noise and the smell. And it also allows landscapers, and this is to Bill's point, a chance to adapt and adjust over time so that their businesses can continue to thrive. And we all want that. It's a start, and it's a very commendable one at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. There is a question here from Ursula, which I wanted to address just quickly. Which is, the question is, has anybody considered allowing blowers to operate in particular areas, like in a zone similar to what we do for garbage pickup and leaf pickup in the fall, so that zone F would have gas leaf blowers would be fine Monday and Tuesday in zone F, and then Wednesday and Thursday in zone G. We have talked about that. A number of people have talked about that. It doesn't. So far, it doesn't seem to be getting a lot of enthusiasm. You are absolutely welcome to bring it up with your township committee members. I think one of the issues is, if you were living in a zone where they were suddenly allowed to blow and only for 2 days a week, it would be extraordinarily loud on those 2 days. And I think that's part of the fear. The other thing is, Matt and I spoke earlier this week with a couple of landscapers at an in-person meeting, and we brought that up, and their concern was, actually, Matt, why don't I let you talk about it? It was
No, you're absolutely correct, Bill. It's sort of a practical issue. If we followed the leaf schedule and only permitted the use of the gas-powered leaf blowers in certain zones during certain days of the week, there are going to be residents who live on the border of those zones, and then they're going to be inundated with the use of gas-powered leaf blowers, not just for 1 day a week, but potentially 2 or 3 days a week. And it may be confusing for the landscapers themselves. It also interferes with the schedules that they have. We're not saying you can't do your services. We're just saying please don't use certain kind of equipment during certain seasons. This is not a ban. And if there were issues or concerns, they may not know what day of the week they can pick up at a certain day or what day of the week they can use the equipment a certain day. It might be too cumbersome for all parties involved. But go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, that was the impression we got from the landscapers. They sort of come when they can. And so if they're in a neighborhood that they're scheduled to be in and suddenly it's the wrong zone, it introduces a lot more uncertainty. That was a theme we heard a lot, that if we can give the landscapers some clear guidelines that everybody says, okay, during this time you can't use it. It's actually in some ways better for their business than if it's kind of all over the place and moving. But we appreciate the question and just wanted to let you know we certainly have considered it. Okay, we are a little bit over time, and we want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And please, if this issue matters to you as well, please speak out. Please contact your township committee members. Let them know how you feel, and we will do the same. This meeting has been recorded, and we'll probably be sharing it on some of the Facebook groups that all of us know so well, or at least clips from it. We wouldn't ask people to watch the whole thing all at once, but we'll probably be sharing it in the days to come. So thanks everyone for coming. We really appreciate the care that you put into life here in Millburn Short Hills. Bye-bye.
Thank you.